How about that? How about that? Let's start in the middle of a sentence that nobody knows what is going on because it doesn't matter anymore. Does it? Well, it's all ruined now, isn't it? Whatever the quote is that guy says. Oh, good for you. Whatever it is, dude. I'm with that guy. Me and him, same attitude today.
This video
it's all ruined now, isn't it? What does he say? I don't even know. Hello, stop it, please. Thank you.
An additional month free.
Yay.
Also, stun your friends, turn heads,
Bro,
get compliments.
Who is this guy? Is this the dude that makes the channel? Is that what this face is? Is that why you keep popping up all over the place?
Buy yourself some oversimplified merch today, along with a very honest new character pin. Link in the description down below. Okay, Mrs.
No, you
Lincoln.
didn't. No, you didn't.
This is it. One last push, and we're done.
And top hat. Come on,
9
bro.
months and 4 days ago, my father brought forth upon my mother himself, and gave to her a child, conceived in a shack in Kentucky.
It's so hard not to say terrible things. It's so hard.
What?
And
It's so hard not to say terrible
that I would drink
things.
Num-nums from a bottle and do little poo-poos in my pantses for the next 2 to 3 years. Now what is it babies do again?
Yeah, that looks really good. Here, I'll pause it real quick so you could all see it. You should follow me on Instagram at Laughing Birds Pod. If you don't, you're slipping, bro. Look at that. Come on now. Stop it.
Ew. Just stab me in my chest with it.
Well, you know, books are dangerous. See? They taught you a lesson. Books are dangerous. You open one up, you can hurt yourself. No, really, though. Thank you for that. Really, though.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You really should check out the Instagram artwork and all that. It's very good. But I know that's not what we're doing here right now. And I say that because it ain't my artwork. So you got a problem with that, bro. You can take it up somewhere else. Huh? Yeah, cry about it. Cry about it.
I am not touching that.
Me neither. Ah, man, there's a perfectly good Jeffrey Epstein joke in there somewhere. Ugh.
With his relatively poor family in Kentucky, eventually moving to Indiana, and finally, Illinois. He read a lot of books, worked a lot of jobs, wrote some questionable poetry.
Abraham Lincoln is my name, and with my pen I wrote the same. I wrote in both haste and speed, and left it here for fools to read. Well, you see, I think he's just being a smartass, dude. Like, now I just made you read this whole thing for nothing. So good for me. Now you know my name. Snoop Doggy Dogg.
And finally, entered the law profession. Despite being self-taught, he turned out to be a pretty clever and astute lawyer. In one case, a guy claimed he witnessed a murder at night, and Lincoln was like, "How could you have seen anything in the dark? There was a bright full moon." A what? A bright full moon. Can you say that again, please? There was a bright full moon. A dim half moon? No, a bright full moon. That's funny, because according to this almanac, there was a dim half moon that night, which makes you
A liar.
liar.
Bam!
Well, I got a bright full moon for y'all right here.
Yep.
Now that's what I call a rebuttal.
Oh, stop it.
Lincoln
Bro,
and
Chip
his-
Chipperson, eat your heart out, dude. My God. Was Lincoln Italian? Look at that fucking nose, bro.
Bones weren't only interested in law, however.
Jesus,
he
I
also
thought his
dabbled
top
in the
hat
world
was
of
big, huh? I should not be talking. I should not be talking.
politics,
With
serving
his
as a
gonzo
legislator in
elbow
both
in my
local
face.
and national assemblies. And what a time it was. Not even 100 years after the founding fathers wrote all men are created equal, politicians were
Yeah,
already
you believe that. You believe that. You're doing wonderful. You're doing wonderful, really. Bang up job. All these.
asking, yeah, but what does that mean exactly? It means all men. Yeah, but what does that mean exactly?
Bro!
Just that. States'
Yeah,
rights-
dude. Hey, asshole. What do you think it means? What do you think it means? Ugh.
Federal government. What are the executive
Douche.
powers of the president? Is cereal a soup? The founding fathers left some of these questions perhaps a little too open to interpretation.
Hold on now. Hold on now. Let's stop with this is cereal soup nonsense. Let's stop with this is cereal soup nonsense. Cereal is cereal, and that's the end of the damn conversation. Soup is a different thing. I have no medical evidence to back this up, or scientific evidence for that matter. That is all.
transportation. And the biggest question of them all was slavery, an ugly mark on what should have been a revolutionary new nation based on liberty and democracy.
I shake my head because, dude, it's not. This shit has been going on forever, dude. As long as there have been people who are, I don't want to say smart enough, but if you can see the loophole, right, and you like it, that's scummy to do it. It's scummy to do. People will take advantage of other people forever, is what I'm trying to say. If there's somebody who can think of an angle, there's somebody else who can get angled. That's what it comes down to, dude. And a lot of the times, what choice would you fucking have? What choice would you have? You know, you have to get everybody to go in with you on some shit, which is not easy to do. Overthrow these motherfuckers. Everybody's scared, man. Fear is a motherfucker, dude.
Thomas Jefferson had written a condemnation of slavery in the Declaration of Independence, but out of fear of losing Southern states' support, it was removed. Hey guys,
Pussy.
do you think leaving this a little vague will
I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I know. It's privilege of me to be able to sit in this chair and call him a pussy, even though, I mean, that is some bitch shit, dude. Fuck the South. How about that? I'm sorry. To all my friends in the southern states, it's not personal against you. Yeah, I know I have. Look, I have friends that live in Florida, right? Like, fuck that place. That place is a dump, dude. A lot of great things come out of the South. I just don't like this type of attitude. And there's a lot of shit that comes out of the North, too. Let's not play games. We've contributed plenty. So we're not perfect. I just think that's on some bitch shit, dude. Like, oh, let me not be against slavery because I don't want these fucking southern losers to not support me, right? Fuck those people. Fuck them. Every one of them. And that's the type of attitude that gets you a fucking war, probably.
Any unforeseen problems in the future? Cannonball! And those unforeseen problems were now beginning to rear their ugly heads. As the nation developed, the North and the South
Who the
developed
fuck is
along
that?
two very different lines, and two very different cultural identities emerged. Northern cities began rapidly industrializing, while the southern climate
Tom
allowed
Hanks.
for large plantations of labor-intensive crops. As a result,
Ugh.
half of the country
Bro,
didn't-
fuck, I shouldn't even be wearing this shirt right now, dude. On some real shit, probably made out of cotton, dude. But,
I want to show you something real quick, but I don't
Whoa.
want them to see.
hold on, let me
Alright.
do this first, because then I'll have to do it all over again. And I don't want to...
You know, it'll be on the green thing.
Alright.
You know, because Kadira wants me to walk with her to Exxon.
Oh, it's going to be fast, then I'll just get up real quick. But I'm saying I don't want to stop the video and then start it back up again from where I am.
Well, no, you know, it can be whenever.
Alright, let me... Hold on, please hold. It's not going to take long. It's not going to take long. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
Oh, this boring cocksucker. Jehovah's Witnesses are more interesting.
Presenting the YouTube sensation.
Jack! There's your balls.
Bigger than ever.
What are you doing here?
Laughing.
At
Birds.
Don't look at me like that. I had no choice. What? What was I supposed to do? What, was I supposed to be an accomplice? But he's in our house.
How you think that reflects on me?
No, you're a
Come
drug
on, bro. You don't think I know this shit?
dealer. It's no secret.
Stop it.
Everyone knows you're a drug dealer.
Ugh. Heartbreaking, dude.
How do you think that reflects on me?
Terrible. Terrible. Every time I go out, I'm humiliated. Why is she like sounding like Mario all of a sudden? I don't know.
didn't rely on slaves, while the other half had become economically dependent on them. In 1793, Eli Whitney's cotton gin caused the slave trade in the South to explode. while in the north, a growing
Thanks,
abolitionist
Eli.
movement was
Douchebag. Right, not his fault, probably. Who knows? Who even knows anymore?
taking root. A general mistrust began to develop between the North and the South.
Fuck
as
'em.
Northerners felt the
Fuck him! As somebody from the north who's ventured to the south, thank you very fucking much. I have, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All I'm trying to say is, if you go to certain places, you know, they may or may not you figure out that you ain't really from there and not really want you in their establishments. This is gonna happen. And granted, this is years ago, right? We live in woke culture now. I appreciate the fact that you will kick me out of your store, dude, because I don't want to buy your shit anyway, if that's how you want to get down, dude.
South were hell-bent on expanding slavery, and fear spread throughout the South that the North wanted to take their slaves away. In 1819, there were 11 free states and 11 slave states. A perfect balance. A happy medium.
Good. I'm at least happy that my fucking state is, you know, in my opinion, on the right side of things. Ugh.
No, we're always down to the left. Up north.
Harmonious relationship. Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm Missouri, and I would like to become the 23rd
We're not
state.
even
Hey buddy,
on
welcome
the boards.
to the nation. We'll be happy to accept you as a free state. Oh no, you don't.
What
You're
the
trying to
fuck?
get- Hey guys,
Where does
the
this fucking guy
their
come
slaves
from?
Away. In 1819, there were 11 free states and 11 slave states.
Yeah.
A perfect balance.
Uh-huh.
A happy medium. A
Right.
harmonious relationship. Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm Missouri, and I would like to become the 23rd state. Hey buddy. welcome to
In
the
what?
nation. We'll be happy to accept you as a free state. Oh no, you don't. You're trying to get one over on us. Missouri's going to be a slave state.
Nah, then
Okay,
be
listen,
neutral,
Why don't
bro.
we just ask Missouri what it wants to be, and we slave state?
Ugh.
Well, then.
Should've been neutral, bro.
allow
Now
me
you
to
gotta go.
introduce to you the newest, freshest state on the scene, Maine. Hey, you can't do that.
Oh shit, we're just making up places now? Fuck it, dude. Whatever. Whatever. See, because I like this side of the argument, so I'm with it. But I'm honest enough to say that. All of you, no, not really. That's not right. Honestly, Missouri, you're gonna get fucked up now, dude. That's not my fault. You wanted that, not me. You wanted it.
Can't have any more slave states above this line. What?
What?
Issue of slavery is solved, and it will never come up again. A few years later,
Bro.
it came up.
Bro, that is so ignorant. It's not even funny. That is so ignorant. It's not even funny. I have to applaud. I have to applaud your what do you call it? Your drive, whatever it is. You really want it. I appreciate that. But that's not the way it works, dude. You can't just go, hey, we're right, you're wrong, fuck you, it's over. That's not how it works.
Again. You see, as America expanded westward, each new state or territory that was added threatened to
I'm stupid and didn't realize that 50-something states, whatever it is, wasn't established yet. Because I'm a bad American. But see, that's, you know.
upend the delicate balance between the slave and free states. If one faction managed to outnumber the other, it could gain an easy majority and force its own ideals on the opposing side,
Fuck
leaving a
that.
huge portion of the population feeling spiteful and oppressed.
Yeah, but they
Or
still
what?
do though. They still do though, dude. Bro, you don't even know. You don't even know how stupid some people are. They're like really. It's wild. It's wild, yo. How dumb some people are, dude. It's mind blowing to me. I can understand. I can understand hate. I can understand that all day. There's plenty of people I hate. But you do it for the right reasons, man. You find something to hate about them. You gotta work for it a little bit, you know?
This has kicked the can down the road and kept the volatile balance in check, as new free and slave states were roughly added in pairs. But then
course,
one loudmouth state
Arkansas,
just had to barge in
Florida.
and ruin everything as usual. The addition of Texas saw the United States enter into a war with Mexico.
Of
which
course.
they won, gaining a huge amount of land out west and creating even more problems. Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm California, and I would like to become
Now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense. Now I see why they're like, you stole California from the Mexicans. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Well, this is what they're talking about. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, whatever. I'm not getting involved in all this bullshit. I didn't fight nobody, dude.
31st state. Hey, buddy, welcome to the nation. We'll be happy to accept you as a Southern slave.
Send me your
Oh, no, you
edibles.
don't. You're trying to get one over on us. California's gonna be a free state.
Please.
Okay, listen.
You
What-
hear my nose, bro? I'm dying out
Why
here.
don't we just ask California what
Literally.
it wants to be, and we can free state? Well, then, allow me to introduce to you the territories of New Mexico and Utah, able to freely vote for slavery themselves. Hey, you can't do that. And we can enter Northern Territory anytime we want to recapture escaped slaves.
What? Fuck you.
What? The issue of slavery is
Fuck that, bro. We're going to war, dude. You want to come up in my place whenever you want? I don't fucking think so, dude. We're doing this right now. This is how it happens. That's how it happens. I'll bet you. Oh, you're doing what? You're doing what? Yeah, I don't think so. Go get your guns. Go get them. Go get them. Oh, you're gonna need them. Oh, you're gonna need them. See? Ugly, dude. It's ugly, dude.
will never come up again. A few years later, it came up again. In 1854, a Democratic senator from Illinois wanted to build a really cool choo-choo train here and proposed that the territories of Kansas and Nebraska be created open to slavery, even though they were clearly above the Missouri Compromise line. Obviously, the northern states were like, hell no. But the Southern Democrats who controlled Congress at the time were like, well, if you love liberty and democracy so much, then you should let them vote on whether slavery should be legal or not. And so it was.
That's
Huge
true,
numbers.
though. You gotta let people have a choice. But at the same time, not for fucking slaves, bro. Let it, fuck that. Do your own job, you cunt. What the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm supposed to not curse. I get emotional. Do what you want from me.
Pro and anti-slavery settlers rushed to Kansas to sway the vote in their favor. And while they were all there, they began to beat the crap out of each other. One of those settlers was a man named John Brown, a former businessman who failed at just about everything he tried and went arguably
Sounds like
insane.
me.
He was a radical abolitionist and dedicated much of his life to the Underground Railroad and freeing slaves.
Oh, that's
One
good.
night, in revenge for an earlier raid by pro-slavery forces, he and his sons killed a number of pro-slavery settlers in the territory, helping to kickstart years of violence known as Bleeding Kansas. Kansas and Nebraska both eventually voted in favor of outlawing slavery.
Good.
But from here, the tension began to grow at a rapid pace. In 1852, author Harriet Beecher Stowe penned Uncle Tom's Cabin, a best-selling novel.
What is
exposed
that?
the terrible
What is that? Dude, is that what that means, bro? I hear people say you're Uncle Tom. I don't know what that means. Is that what that means? I know it's bad. Whatever it is real bad. It's real bad. You don't want people calling you that.
of slavery to the world. Oh, how awful. How morally corrupt a nation must be to allow such things to happen. Your Majesty, what should we do about all the starving children working in the coal mines? Nothing! In 1854, the Republican Party was formed, and Abraham Lincoln
Hold on,
emerged
please.
as a
Hold
leading
on,
figure.
please.
So-
What'd you say?
Here, the tension Uncle Tom's Cabin, a
Yeah.
best-selling novel that exposed the terrible cruelty of slavery to the
Right.
world. Oh, how awful. How morally corrupt a nation must be to allow such things to happen. Your Majesty, what should we do about all the starving children working in the coal mines? Nothing! In 1854, the Republican Party was formed, and Abraham Lincoln
Isn't that
emerged as
always
a
the
leading
way?
figure. Southern Democrats viewed the new Republican
Bro.
Party with mistrust.
How hilarious is that? This just proves... This should prove to every one of you that party does not... See, as I say that, there are always going to be certain things that are lined up to each party. Yes? The gun control for Republicans, other things, but let's not, I don't want to... Look, dude, all I'm trying to say is you can't just assume. You got to look at the bigger picture. It's not just about what letter is next to somebody's name, dude. It's about what they're really trying to do.
Believing it to be radical and abolitionist. In 1856, a politician named Charles Sumner gave a speech in Congress, calling out slave-owning Democrats with fiery language.
Good.
If slavery was a woman, she'd be an ugly one. And the senator from South Carolina would like to boink her. Representative Brooks, do you have a rebuttal?
I fuck ugly bitches all day, son. Super balls to the rescue. I'm just talking about my life. I don't know what you're doing.
1856, a politician named Charles Sumner gave a speech in Congress, calling out slave-owning
Sorry,
Democrats
Jed.
with
No
fiery
disrespect.
language. If slavery was a woman, she'd be an ugly one. And the senator from South Carolina would like to boink her. Representative Brooks, do you have a rebuttal? Oh, I have a rebuttal, all right. Yeah, here's a rebuttal for you. Oh, come on. Surely this isn't allowed. I don't know.
Sure
I'll have
is.
to consult the rule book. I can't find anything about caning a political opponent, but it says here I'm not allowed to wear women's underwear. News of the violence on the Senate floor took the nation by storm. Southern slave owners sent...
Oh, is that real? Is that real? Can a judge not wear women's underwear? What does that have to do? That seems a little too specific to not be real. I'm just curious, like what does it matter? What does it matter what underwear that they are wearing? I don't know. It has to be me.
Representative Brooks new canes to replace his now broken one. And on the floors of Congress, politicians carry weapons in self-defense, which is never a good sign. In 1857, the Supreme Court ruled in the Dred Scott case that all people of African descent, slave or free, could not be citizens, and therefore could not sue for their own freedom
That's
under
disgusting.
any circumstances, undoing years of progress with the strike of a gavel. Now,
fuck that guy. First of all, and I know you could easily look back through history, you could go, well, gay people weren't allowed to marry and blah, 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 and, you know, just recognizing... Look, it's gross that we have to do this, but this is the way it is, unfortunately. Every fucking group of people has to be, you know... No matter what I say, it's gonna come out wrong, but the reality of the fact is, dude, that you don't seem to get anything done in this country until, you know, you get beat up for a while. Yeah? You know, whatever that is, I don't know why. Why is it that you know, there has to be deaths and shit before you realize, like, dude, just let people do, you know, as long as they're not, you know, hurt nobody, whatever. Bro, enough with the kratom, son. There's nothing. Jesus Christ almighty. Bro, look at my face, dude. Keep your drugs to yourself, please. Keep your drugs to yourself, please. I got enough problems. Let's get back in the video, man. All I'm trying to say, dude, is it's wrong. Obviously, it's wrong to try to keep other people down because you don't understand. Because you don't understand them. Or because they look different than you. Or because they're attracted to something different than you. Look, bro, everything that I say, I can make an argument for, and a valid one, to be like, you're a douchebag for this reason. But that's life, bro. Right? Like, I'm not saying that it's right, dude. Which is, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Slavery fucking sucks. Right? That's obvious. Racism blows, but it's a step, dare I say racism is a step in the right direction. What does that mean? Well, okay, since I'm digging a hole, let me bury myself. Before people can accept you, right, they have to be ignorant of you, and they have to hate you, kinda, to maybe come around. Some people, not everybody. I'm not saying that racism is a good thing. All I'm saying is it could be a good sign. That maybe, like in a real sick and twisted way, like maybe it's starting to come around just a little bit, right? Like this is just, I should really delete the fuck out of this, bro. It's what I should do, but I'm not gonna, because this conversation is never gonna be had. People are too afraid. You're too scared, dude. And not for nothing, bro, but it doesn't help when everybody is too quick to check everybody else for every little damn thing you say. I know everything I just said is extremely problematic, can be taken into context 80 ways to Sunday, and you'll probably call me a racist or whatever, but I know it's in my heart, dude. You know what I mean? I don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. You know, whatever. Fuck.
Within all this bitter debate over slavery, there were many nuances. North versus South, Republican versus Democrat, states versus the federal government. But let's strip all of that away. For 4 million individuals living in America, this wasn't about political intrigue or party alignment. It was about the basic human right to be free.
Right?
Men, women, and children were stolen from their homelands and brought to the American continent, where for generations they were considered to be property, forced to live in poverty.
See, dude, I mean, I don't... Now, here we go. White supremacist time, right? We knew it. I don't like this. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like this, dude. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't like this. Just this part. Just this part. It's almost... Okay. You know what? If I'm gonna get canceled and murdered and whatever anyway, fuck it, right? Chances are you probably think slavery was a shitty idea, right? So do you really need to take the extra step with some sad piano bed music to talk about how fucking shitty slavery was? That seems a little bit... I don't know, whatever, like, it's just, like, come on, bro. You're not reaching the people that need to hear this fucking message, is what I'm trying to say. No racist is gonna sit at home, watch this video, and go, holy fuck, I had it wrong the whole time. It's not gonna happen, sweetheart. You're wasting your breath talking to me. I got your message. I got it. I'm not the one you need to talk to. Well, based on a bunch of shit that you just said in the past 26 minutes, I beg to fucking differ.
And worked from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Plantation overseers did whatever they felt was necessary to get the most out of their slaves. Punishments were often barbaric. Families were regularly separated, and parents could often only watch, as their children were auctioned off, never to be seen again.
I get it, it's history, right? That's how you can do it, you have to mention it. It just seems like... I know it sounds insensitive, but... I'm just tired of hearing the same shit, bro. Let's go talk to the fucking people that need to hear it. Huh? I know this is a bad thing, dude. You don't need to convince me, right? Ugh, I hate it, bro. It just makes me uncomfortable is really what it is, I think, dude. And it's not... can we, like... I don't feel bad because I'm white. Let's just get this out of the way. If we're gonna go, let's go all the way. If we're gonna go, let's go all the way. I didn't hang nobody, right? And I certainly don't condone that activity. And I try to be a good person. That's it. I don't treat other people differently because of what the fuck they look like. I treat them differently by how they act like. If you're an asshole, then whatever, dude. You know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with all that.
Thousands of slaves took the treacherous risk of running away, and abolitionists in the North helped many escape via the Underground Railroad as bounty hunters entered the North to chase them down. Leading figures within the abolitionist movement included many significant free black men and women. But it's important to note that for many of the anti-slavery white individuals in the North, opposition to slavery was often an economic issue, not a moral one, as many worried large plantations would take their lands and livelihoods away. Abraham Lincoln knew that slavery was a moral evil, and he regularly spoke out against it in powerful speeches that helped him rise through the ranks of the new Republican Party. He lamented at the hypocrisy of a great American nation meant to stand as a shining beacon of freedom, while also enslaving 4 million men, women, and children. He most famously declared in 1858 that a house divided against itself cannot stand, that one day, slavery in America would end. However, even Lincoln was cautious in his opposition. He didn't want to outlaw it entirely, but simply prevent its expansion, so that given enough time...
Cancel him! Cancel him right now! Cancel him right now! He didn't do away with the whole thing! I want him canceled, and that's it, dude! I want him canceled, and that's it, dude! I don't care what he did. I don't care what he did. Fuck him in the balcony. I want him canceled right now, dude. What do you mean he didn't abolish it completely? Unacceptable in 2021. Unacceptable.
Believed it would naturally die out. Thankfully, history would force his hand. In October 1859, one abolitionist decided he'd try to single-handedly take down slavery by force. Who would be crazy enough to even attempt such a thing? It's our good friend, John Brown. He planned to seize arms from an armory in the town of Harper's Ferry, free the slaves there, and continue south, inciting a major slave uprising along the way. A noble cause, a bad plan, and terrible execution. Brown's men took the armory and some hostages, but were quickly surrounded by one Robert E. Lee and his U.S. Marines. Brown was captured, and a couple of months later, he was executed for treason. Northerners sympathized with Brown, but Southerners were like, you see this? They're coming for us. Soon, there'll be 1 million John Browns. 1 million John Browns? What on earth are you thinking about? A John Brown farm? Yeah, me too. To make matters worse, new northern free states meant now the southern states really were outnumbered, and they were beginning to feel bitterly spiteful and oppressed. Further fear began to spread in the South when news broke that a relatively unknown figure had just secured the Republican Party nomination for president. Abraham Lincoln, mostly well-liked among anti-slavery Northerners, had made some of the most powerfully worded speeches against slavery of any politician at the time. And now, there was a chance that he and his cheekbones could become president. For the South, that would be too much. In the 1860 election, Lincoln's name didn't even appear on the ballot in 10 southern states. But much to their horror, when the final results came in, Lincoln had won by an electoral college landslide. Lincoln himself.
Yeah, you heard him. By electoral college landslide. The people had nothing to do with that. The government made the choice and put Lincoln in. Now, here's a question for all the history buffs in the world, dude. How is that democracy if the electoral college can make a choice and put anybody in that they want? Well, not anybody, but you understand what I'm trying to say. You know, if it comes down to the two people, whatever, and the electoral college can override what the vote majority is of the people, then how is that a democracy? I don't understand. Now, I'm an ignorant person, obviously, so, you know, whatever.
How many times do I have to tell you, I'm not gonna take away your slaves? Yeah, right, Honest Abe. We've had enough of you Northerners. We're gonna go form our own country. You can't do that. Why not? Well, if you had won the election, would it be okay for us to leave? Of course not. Well, why not? Because that's not how victim mentality works. Many states felt that when they joined the Union, they always withheld the right to leave it whenever they pleased. Many people living in 19th century America often felt more loyalty to their state than to the nation. And now, with the South feeling like it had lost its voice in the federal government, they were out of here. South Carolina was the first to go, and over a period of 6 months, one by one, 11 slave states officially seceded from the Union, with just 4 states opting to remain. The seceding states issued a number of official documents justifying their secession. South Carolina proclaimed that it was northern states' hostility to slavery that rendered the federal government illegitimate.
Hold on now, what did the man say?
That it was northern states' hostility to
increasing hostility on the part of non-slave holding states to the institution of slavery has led to a disregard of their obligations, and the laws of general government have ceased to affect the objects of this Constitution, whatever that means.
Slavery that rendered the federal government illegitimate.
What? Declaration of immediate causes which introduce and justify the cession to South Carolina from the federal union. Oh, so that's what you're trying to say? Increasingly hostile on the part of non-slave owning states. Disregard for their obligation. So, so it's an obligation of fuck you, bro. How about that? See, I don't care because I know everybody. You're like, bro.
Mississippi declared that their position was thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery.
Well, fuck them too, bro. Still, fuck that place still.
In a speech, the Confederate vice president stated that the new Confederate government rested upon what he called the great truth of racial inequality.
Holy shit, that guy looks like a kid that I went to school with. Stabbed himself. I'm not making that up. That's a real story. That kid stabbed himself. I don't know why.
Revered American generals, such as Robert E. Lee, opted to side with their states over the Union. And with all the chaos, one New York lawyer wrote that rather than a bold eagle, America's national bird should be a debilitated chicken. And hey,
he ain't
I
wrong.
kinda like that.
He ain't
One man,
wrong.
watching the crisis unfold, knew it would be his job to solve it. Lincoln was just about to hop on a train and become the President of the United States of America. Hey man, you're hella ugly. Grow a beard or something to hide that face. Good idea. Still ugly. With assassination plots already underway, Lincoln had to travel to Washington, D.C. under heavy disguise and protection. All along the way, he received stacks of threatening letters. May the hand of the devil strike you down. You are destroying this country. Damn you, every breath you take. Love from Grandma. At his inauguration speech, Lincoln once again...
Yo, I'm 1000%. I could buy that. I could buy that all day, dude. Some people just... Look, bro, please, let's not even. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear none of that.
Iterated that no, I do not want to take away anyone's slaves.
Ah.
But for Lincoln, he did want to preserve the Union. He declared secession to be nothing but an illegitimate rebellion. In your
I
hands
get it.
and not in mine, he said.
I get it. You can't force everybody to do. Yeah, but see, this is. I don't know, man. I'm so glad I don't make these decisions. I really am. Ugh. God, what a shit show.
The momentous issue of civil war. You can have no conflict without being yourselves the aggressors. We are not enemies, but friends. It was clear Lincoln was ready and willing to get freaky and open up a can of Scatman John if he had to. Whether he had the support of the people, however, was in question. In the end, it was the Confederates that fired the first shot.
Of course.
As they seceded,
Of course it
the Confederate
was.
states began seizing federal U.S. property throughout the South. Off the coast of Charleston, South Carolina, was one such federal property, Fort Sumter, held by a measly, undersupplied U.S. force. The Confederate militia there demanded the fort surrender, a request which was quickly denied, and any remaining hope for a peaceful solution to the secession crisis probably then died when the Confederates did this. The Battle of Fort Sumter is considered to be the beginning of the American Civil War. Many of the Confederates there also considered it to be the end of the American Civil War.
Ha!
But
You
all
thought-
they would just sigh and
you
say,
thought-
"Okay, you win." Unfortunately for them, Lincoln actually said, "You're about to get a roundhouse to the face." Lincoln sent out the call for 75,000 volunteers.
Talk
and
that
men
shit,
signed
son!
up in droves.
Go get 'em!
hopeful for some adventure and good old-fashioned
Can you imagine? That's terrible. Everybody's dying right now. This is no good, dude.
F-U-N. In the new Confederate capital at Richmond, Virginia, Confederate President Jefferson Davis and his cheekbones
Whoa.
had also sent out the call for 100,000.
Bro, he looks like, oh shit, what does he look like? Oh my god, this is gonna kill me, dude. He looks like 3 people, bro. He really does. My first instinct was to be like, yo, it's the dude from Soundgarden, kinda. All right there. Mix it up. A bunch of other
Jefferson
people.
Davis and his cheekbones had also sent out
Hilarious.
the call for 100,000 men. As ever, both sides hoped for a quick end to the war. Is it over yet? No, Jimmy. It's been 1 week. Is it over now? No. How about now? If you ask that one more time,
I'll turn
I
this
swear
whole
I will
thing
turn
around.
this army around,
Yep.
and you'll all have to go back home to your wives and children.
No!
The South knew the conflict would pose a bit of a challenge. How can we expect to win with a population of only 5 million against 22 million in the North? If you count us 4 million slaves, you'd have 9 million. Great idea.
Who's-
These rifles out to hold them? Wait a minute. You almost had me there. The problem for Lincoln was that
Wait,
many of
what?
people expect to win with a population of only 5 million.
Oh,
against
wait,
22
I did,
million
but
in the
yeah,
North.
okay.
If you count us 4 million
I
slaves,
got
you'd
ya.
have 9 million.
I see what you're trying to
Great
do.
idea. Hand these rifles out to hold them. Wait a minute. You almost had me there. The problem for Lincoln was that many of his top generals were getting old and were being a bit too cautious. The commanding general was a man named Winfield Scott, a veteran of the Mexican-American War, and by now, he was too fat to even mount a horse. Okay, Jeff,
Damn,
we need
son.
to come up with a plan. Hit me. We could wait for the Confederates to come and apologize. Maybe we should all sit in a circle and
We
discuss our
could
feelings.
eat
Crossing
Twinkies
the
so we
Delaware
can't
to
feel
New
our
Jersey worked
toes.
For me. Those are all terrible ideas.
Wait, what?
And you, crossing the Delaware into New Jersey worked for me. Those are all terrible
I don't know
ideas.
about that.
And you, wrong video. Hey, I'm the greatest president in the history of this nation. Yeah, we'll see about that, dingus.
Yeah.
Eventually, Lincoln's generals came up with a multi-pronged strategy. First, a blockade would cut off and starve the South of supplies by sea. Secondly, taking control of the great Mississippi River would sever the South's economic artery while splitting it in two. And finally, a main Union force in the east would move south and take the Confederate capital, ending the war. Bada boom, bada bing. Skirmishes began to break out across the nation, and the Union Army in the east began to move south towards Richmond. Everything seemed to be going well until they reached Manassas, where they came upon a large Confederate force. It's almost like they were waiting for us. How did they know? As it turned out, spies in DC had sent a coded message to the Confederates warning of the invasion. Did you use NordVPN? What the heck is NordVPN? I'm so glad you asked. Do you use the internet?
No.
Me too. Do you like internet safety?
No.
Me too. Hey, we should hang out sometime. So
You
I can
never
tell you about
listen.
NordVPN.
Never listen,
NordVPN
man.
has over 5,000 secure,
Jesus.
super fast servers in 60 countries that allow you to surf the
Untouchables, yeah.
personal data log.
Yeah.
Not only
I want
does
his
it help you
dog
stay
dead.
secure, but with just a
I want
click
his
of a button,
family
you can
dead. I
take a
want to
quick
go
trip
there
to
in the middle of the night.
Sweden
Want to
and
piss
enjoy
on
some
his
gorgeous
ashes.
crime dramas. Is there
Yeah.
some amazing content on YouTube that's still blocked in your country? Not to fear. NordVPN is here. NordVPN gives you access to all of these amazing features. It has
Yay.
a 30-day money-back guarantee.
All
So click the link
right.
in the description below.
I'm not doing it.
NordVPN.com/oversimplified.
I don't have the money, man. Stop pressuring me.
Promo code oversimplified to get
I'm not
70%
doing
off
it.
an annual subscription.
You can't
That's
make
only
me.
$3.49 a month.
I don't
plus
care.
An additional month for free.
That's great.
Again, that's NordVPN.com.
I appreciate it. Stop. Stop it.
And
Stop
as
it.
always, you'll be supporting my
No
channel.
means no, sir.
Now, where
No
were we?
means no,
Oh,
sir.
yeah. Secession, Fat Man, and the Union invasion into Virginia. The
Jesus.
two sides encountered each other at Manassas, and both geared up for the first major battle of the Civil War, the First Battle of Bull Run. The Confederates rapidly brought in support via rail, and the two sides were about equal in numbers. However, they were also equally inexperienced. A large number of civilians also rode out by carriage from DC to picnic on the nearby hills and watch the excitement unfold. Nobody seemed to quite understand how destructive this war was going to be. The Union forces pulled a flanking maneuver to hit the Confederates on their left, and the two sides fired on each other in rows. Farm families living in the area were forced to flee the fighting, including a man named Wilmer McLean. Hurry up, Martha! There's a war out here! The more you tell me to hurry up, the slower I will go!
Yep.
The Union force saw initial success pushing the Confederates back to Henry Hill, but one as of yet fairly unknown General Thomas Jackson had arrived, and he took a defensive position, standing firm like a stone wall, holding the Union army off, and finally sending them running back to Washington, D.C. With heavy casualties, the sobering reality of war hit.
Bro. 480 people missing. I'm sorry, killed. 480 people killed. 1,000 wounded. 1,200 missing, dude. Our numbers are much bigger than theirs, huh? 390, 1,600 versus 12. You got us pretty good. Got us pretty good.
Both sides hard, and the North, having just lost the first major battle, had to face the serious prospect that they may not actually win this war.
Bro, can you imagine what the fuck would the world be like now? Bro, I'd be dead probably. Like, it's not even... I don't know, dude. I think it would be a completely different world. If slavery would have stayed, everything would have been different. Ugh, what a fucking ugly... Well, I mean... it doesn't... You can't... Jail, like, it's just... It's same... Different shit, same toilet, bro. It's...
President Lincoln, General Jackson whipped us so hard, the Confederates are calling him Stonewall Jackson. Wait, that's why they're calling him that? Not because he looks like he ran face first into a stone wall? Apparently not. Worse yet, the North had also lost the first major battle out west, giving away control of southwest Missouri. All of this was terrible news for Abraham Lincoln, especially since many of his generals and cabinet already didn't have much respect for him. They felt he was incapable of running a war, because he seemed a bit like your friendly old grandpa. He famously loved a long-winded story and a good pun. I've been so busy, my wife is missing me, but her aim is starting to improve. But deep down, few realized he could also be incredibly
That's just
shrewd.
corny, dude, but I can definitely say that all day and mean it, bro. Oh, I got pretty good at ducking, dude.
Oh, Abe, you're so funny. Funny how?
Like I'm a clown? Like I
Funny
amuse
like
you?
I'm a clown?
Like I'm here to amuse you?
No, funny how?
Yeah.
Like I'm here to amuse you?
Yeah.
During the war, Lincoln
Yeah.
committed acts that
Yeah.
were viewed by some as impeachable. His administration
Go home and
suppressed
get
the
your
free
fucking
media
shine
from printing
box.
articles sympathetic towards the South.
Keep
Some
him here,
Southern
keep him here.
sympathizers were even arrested without a trial. Lincoln's criticizers began accusing him of being a tyrant. But to quote the man himself, hey, it's war, baby. What are you gonna do? By the end of 1860,
Is that what he said?
things already looking
That would be sick if that's what he actually said. Like, bro, sometimes you gotta, sometimes you gotta leatherface somebody. What can you do?
bad for the North. Abolitionists such as Frederick Douglass couldn't believe that the Union Army weren't enlisting black men. He continued to put pressure on Lincoln to make the war about emancipation. Mr. President, it's time to make the war about emancipation. I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Bro, we're already war. What are you talking about, ruffled feathers, dude? People are dying already. Let's do it.
Are already ruffled. But Lincoln, hanging on to hope for a quick end to the conflict, continued to fight only for the preservation of the Union. It was decided, however, that escaped slaves from the Confederacy could be held as enemy contraband, and many of these men were put to work bolstering the Union's infrastructure and supply lines.
That's slavery, though, isn't it? You fucking morons. What the fuck is the difference? I can't even, dude. This is why I don't learn things, bro. I can't do it.
Hoping to get things moving, Lincoln made young General George McClellan the new commanding general, and McClellan
Holy Reno 911, dude. Holy shit snacks, bro. The guy with their short shorts and Johnny Depp done had a baby. That's what happened. Come on, bro. That's not Reno 911 right there? I'll wait. I will wait. Stop it.
began to train up his men. He thought a lot of himself, however, and believed he was going to be the nation's great savior. And like many others, he didn't approve of the president's handling of the war. On one occasion, Lincoln went to McClellan's house to meet with him, but McClellan was late returning home. He kept the president waiting, and when he finally got there, he just straight up went to bed. Now that's what I call disrespectful.
Bro.
McClellan talked the talk, but could he walk the walk? No. Like Lincoln's other generals, McClellan was maddeningly cautious. Hey man, could you move south and attack the enemy? What? Are you crazy? What if they have a big scary army down there? They probably do. What? Oh my gosh! McClellan worried that he did not have the numbers he needed to fight effectively. What if they have like 10,000 men? Okay, no problem. We'll get you 20,000 men. Well, what if they have 30,000 men? I'll need 40. Okay, you can have 40. Well, what if they have 50? I'll need 60. Lincoln tried, but it was all in vain. McClellan would not make a move for the rest of the year. The North's one saving grace for now was a general out west fighting in Kentucky and Tennessee, General Ulysses S. Grant. Cool, collected, methodical, and a big fan of whiskey.
I've
His
heard
chief
of
of
this
staff
cat.
took it upon himself to keep Grant sober. One officer said that Grant habitually wore an expression as though he were determined to drive his head through a brick wall and was about to do it. And that determination led him to
Yeah.
score a number of key victories when others around him were failing.
Bro, he
Around
wants
Fort
to
Donelson
drink and you
Mountain,
won't give him the liquor. Of course he's mad.
It's like, why does Stonewall Jackson get a cool nickname and I don't? I want a cool nickname.
Yeah.
Sir, the Confederates say they're ready to surrender and want to know your terms. No terms, just unconditional surrender. Hey, unconditional surrender Grant. That's a pretty cool nickname, right?
No.
Guys?
No.
Right?
No.
Later in April 1862, the Confederates launched a sudden attack on Grant's army at Shiloh, but the determined, unconditional surrender Grant threw his lines at the rebels and sent them running. The battle resulted in the heaviest casualties in U.S. history so far, and despite his victory, Grant found himself
You know what's
under
fucked
fire
up?
casualties in U.S. history.
Those numbers all combined don't even touch drugs, dude. Not even close. Not even close. It doesn't even sniff it. It don't even sniff it how far away it is, dude. It's wild. You want to talk about death, bro? Really? Not that this is not. Oh boy, what a fucking.
So far, and despite his victory, Grant found himself under fire. You have to get rid of Grant. Why? Didn't he win? Yes, but
Yeah.
he just threw his men at the enemy. Isn't that the point? Also, he's a loony drunk. Well, what does he like to drink? I believe whiskey, sir.
Send him a bunch.
Him more.
Yep.
Lincoln watched as his cabinet did nothing but bicker, and
Although that's fucked up though, dude. You're just sending people out to die like on. You know what? I'm gonna shut up because I don't fight nobody. How about that? I'm gonna shut the fuck up. That's what I'm gonna do.
his generals did nothing. But then, worst of all, personal tragedy struck. Lincoln's young son, Willie, very much loved by the president, died of typhoid fever at the age of 11. Lincoln was a sensitive man and was heavily affected by the loss. His wife was inconsolable. But one of Lincoln's greatest traits... what
No,
made him
don't
such
do
a
this
great-
to me right now, dude. Don't do this to me right now, dude. I'm really trying to hold it together, man, and you're not helping me out, bro. I really would appreciate it if you would stop doing this to me.
Leader was in
Oh,
the darkest of
shit.
times, with composure and
Stop it.
determination.
You're not gonna make me crack, bro. It ain't
He
happening.
knew it was his responsibility
I already
to hold
cried
himself and his family
a bunch
together.
today.
And by doing so, he hoped to hold the nation together.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
he had it with McClellan's inaction.
Oh, it's
Lincoln
over,
decided
thankfully.
he was going to take control. In March 1862,
Ooh, that was
Lincoln firmly
close.
ordered McClellan to once again move south towards Richmond. McClellan insisted instead they move by sea to the Virginia Peninsula and attack Richmond from the southeast. Yes, said Lincoln. Okay, anything. Lincoln held on to some of McClellan's men to defend D.C. from a nearby Stonewall Jackson wreaking havoc in the Shenandoah Valley, and he sent McClellan south. McClellan landed on the peninsula, and he began to move inland. He came up against a small Confederate army that had dug in at Yorktown. McClellan vastly outnumbered the force, but it's said that Confederate General Magruder deceived McClellan by cleverly maneuvering his smaller force and making McClellan believe he faced a huge army. No, you have way more men than them. Move forward. No.
Nope.
McClellan settled in for a month-long siege, giving time for Johnston to move south from Manassas and
Idiot.
Magruder time to retreat. When he finally entered the city and found it deserted, he declared it a victory, calling his success brilliant. Then, after meeting some resistance at Williamsburg, McClellan moved to within just 20 miles of Richmond. His army's able to hear the church bells ringing in the enemy capital. You still outnumber them. Go give him hell.
Nope.
No. McClellan once again held back, moving slowly and defensively. And with his army split in two, the Confederates saw an
They just
opportunity
take
to
'em out.
strike back.
Yep.
McClellan's advance was halted, and now the Confederates pulled an ace out of their sleeve. General Lee, you're up. Do you think we should evacuate Richmond? No, Mr. President, no need. General Robert E. Lee, one of the most brilliant military commanders of the time, was now in charge. One of his biggest strengths was his ability to read the mind of his enemy, and he knew McClellan was cautious and weak. After moving Stonewall Jackson south to join him, and even though he had a smaller army, Lee hit McClellan in a series of fast-paced, close combat battles that had McClellan spooked. McClellan retreated the Union Army back again and again and again, escaping the peninsula and returning to D.C. Lee had defeated McClellan, and the campaign had failed. Well, that was a major success. A success? Tell me exactly what was successful about that. Well, we successfully retreated. You lost. I didn't lose. I merely failed to win.
Say what you want about the South, dude, but obviously those dudes know how to strategize.
Things just kept looking worse for the North. At least their navy had seen some success, capturing a number of key port cities, notably when they steamrolled past Confederate
Jacksonville. Why would you want it? Why would you want Jacksonville? You can have it. Them and Stitches, bro. Have them both.
Take New Orleans.
What you go
And speaking
do
of
with
the
it?
Both sides had begun using iron.
Not listen to your shitty music. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm not gonna do.
So that's pretty cool. But in the East, they still weren't having any luck.
Asshole.
After McClellan's disastrous campaign, Lincoln briefly sent out one General John Pope to attack Northern Virginia. Hey man, just checking in. How's it going? Well, the Confederates kicked my butt at Cedar Mountain. Then they raided my camp and ran off with my money and clothes. Also,
What?
I appear to have been wedgied. Lee defeated Pope at yet another battle at Bull Run, in
Damn.
which nearby farm families once again
Getting
got caught up
spanked.
in the fighting. Hurry up, Martha! There's another war out here! I'm waiting for my hair to dry! Wilmer McLean, sick of war, moved his family south, where he knew the war would definitely, absolutely, never touch him again. But Lincoln had yet another problem to contend with. European powers, in particular the UK, were looking increasingly like they may intervene diplomatically on the side of the Confederates.
What?
They were missing their precious supply of
Fuck
southern
them.
cotton because of the Union blockade, and they wanted to see a swift conclusion to the war. The tension between America and Great Britain had been increasing, especially after Confederate diplomats were discovered on a British ship. Now, after McClellan's failure to take Richmond, the UK declared it impossible for the North to win. Lincoln needed something to prevent Europe from getting involved, and after more petitioning from abolitionists, he decided maybe the time was finally right to make the war about ending the institution he hated, slavery. If the North had a noble cause to fight for, Europe would be less likely to intervene. But Lincoln and his cabinet knew before they could declare something as radical as emancipation, they needed a victory, especially now that the Confederates were about to go on the attack. Aware that he had a limited number of men and supplies, Lee now hoped that if he could just threaten Washington, D.C. militarily, he would gain Europe's recognition and crush Northern morale in time for the midterm elections, forcing the North to negotiate. With confidence at an all-time high, for the first time, Robert E. Lee invaded the North. But on September 13th, the North finally had some luck. Oh boy, it's my lucky day. A cigar in a field. Hey, what's this wrapped around it? Oh my gosh! That's right. The North had
What?
discovered General Lee's battle plans wrapped around some cigars. And
Fuck
then they saw
off.
that Lee had split up his forces.
Are you serious? That's how it. Get the fuck out of here, bro. We would have been screwed, dude. That's what you're telling me? Oh, man. Oh, Jesus. A fucking cigar? Of course it is. Of course. Why do I always think there's gonna be something logical that happened? Who puts a fucking who puts war plans on a cigar, dude? Good. I mean, I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did it. Just saying.
McClellan headed out from D.C., and the two sides met in the Battle of Antietam, a crucial battle that would decide the course of the war. It saw the most vicious fighting to date, and still remains the single blood
Highest single casualty, excluding natural
day in
disasters.
American history.
the battle, whatever the fuck, then 9/11, then D-Day, then the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Ain't that a motherfucker, dude?
But, for once, the North came out victorious, and Lee was forced to retreat. He's on the run. Chase him down and finish him off.
Nope.
No. You know what?
But why are you still fucking with this guy?
Field pal? You're
You're
fired.
fired.
The North had won
Goodbye.
their crucial victory. Lincoln breathed a huge sigh of relief, and with that win, he was prepared to take a huge step. On September 22nd, the Emancipation Proclamation was issued. In January, all slaves held in the Confederate States would be, as far as the U.S. government was concerned, officially free.
I don't
Throughout
like the
North,
way you
free
said
black
that.
men and women rejoiced, knowing that if the North were to win, their brothers and sisters would no longer be held in bondage. The proclamation also had the intended effect on Europe, who were not willing to oppose a pledge to end slavery.
Fuck
An
you.
outraged Confederacy knew that Lincoln had given the war a new meaning. It was no longer just about the preservation of the Union. Now,
Oh,
it was about creating
shit.
a new
That
union,
hurt.
washed clean of its original sin. A union without slavery.
Oh, Jesus, my head.
This video was made
All
possible
right, man, I get it. Jesus, stop it, please.
by Honey. Stick around to learn how you can save money when you shop online.
No, thank you. Please, let's get this over
As the
with.
Union struggle to take control in the East continued, elsewhere, the war raged on. The Confederates attempted an invasion of Kentucky, hoping the state as a whole would join them, but they were pushed back. The Indian Territory saw Native American tribes ally with one side or the other in the hopes of securing rights after the war. Along the Mississippi, General Ulysses S. Grant remained one of the few Union generals scoring major victories. With his best pal, General Sherman, by his side, Grant led his armies down the Mississippi to the Confederate stronghold of Vicksburg. Both sides knew that if Vicksburg fell, the Confederacy would be split in two, and the Confederates prepared for an intense defense of the city. But back in the East, Lincoln still wanted somebody to march south and take Richmond. Having given General McClellan the boot, he needed a new man in charge. All right, Mr. President, option 1 is General Hooker. Bit of a nutcase, but a good general. Option 2, his qualifications are his name is Burnside, and he has freaking dope-ass sideburns. Say no more. So General Burnside
Go
was
with the
put in charge of the
Burnside.
Army of the Potomac
Nope.
and sent
Alright.
south. Lincoln hoped he finally had a general who could succeed. Burnside met General Lee at the city of Fredericksburg, where he intended to rapidly cross the river and take the city. But the Union War Department was too slow in delivering the pontoon bridges, and the two sides were forced to camp across from each other, close enough to speak. Hey, Yankee,
What?
ready to get your butt kicked? Yeah, right, Rebel. God is on our side. No way, God's on our side. Oh, you think so?
No.
Well, why don't we ask him? Hey, God, whose side are you on?
Exactly.
Ow. Dude,
Exactly.
uncool. With
Yeah,
over 100,000
exactly. You fucking dopes. That's what should happen.
men, the Union Army finally launched their massive attack on the 11th of December. But by now, the Confederates had amassed their forces. During the battle, wave after wave of brave Union men marched headlong into a brutal Confederate onslaught. Even the Confederates couldn't believe what they were seeing, and in one moment of camaraderie, a Confederate sergeant, unable to take it, reportedly came out into the field to tend to the Union wounded. Seeing this, the Union troops held their
What?
fire. Still, Burnside and his forces were soundly defeated at Fredericksburg and
Yeah,
forced
bro,
to
come on.
retreat.
Hold on, dude. That's the right thing to do now. You can't. Some people are scumbags, dude, and think they would have shot that guy. That's fucked up. Hold on, I'm gonna
Lincoln's
bring that
popular-
back real fast.
One moment, brutal Confederate on battle. Wave after wave of brave Union men marched headlong into a brutal Confederate onslaught. Even the Confederates couldn't believe what they were seeing, and in one moment of camaraderie, a Confederate sergeant, unable to take it, reportedly came out into the field to tend to the Union wounded.
That's
Seeing this,
crazy.
the Union troops held their fire. Still,
Bro,
Burnside
do you
and
know
his
how,
forces
do
were
you know how
sound-
big your balls have to be? You have any idea how big your balls have to be to not only I'm killing these people, but I'm also going to just jump in the middle of the war and just help this guy because this shit ain't right. Like, that's wild, man. That's wild. Damn. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a better person than me. I'll be
Finally
honest.
defeated at Fredericksburg and forced to retreat. Lincoln's popularity
But that just shows you, though, dude, that, not everybody thinks like it's just like, I think when people think of war, they forget that like people are involved, bro. Just like some regular asshole just like me. But whatever. It's fucked up. It takes the humanity away from it, dude. It takes the humanity away from it. It's easy to forget.
And Northern morale continued to plummet, especially as the winter heading into 1863 was bad. The winter camps were rife with disease. The food was less than appealing. On both sides, men began to leave. Hey, where do you think you're going? I'm deserting. What?
Going
Don't
south
you
where
love
it's
your
hot,
country?
bro.
Yes, I do. And I'm trying to get back to it as quick as I can.
That's right.
Lincoln, ever the kind and caring man he was, spent much of his time pardoning deserters' death sentences. Oh my. Here's a 17-year-old boy sentenced to be hanged. Well, I'd better suspend his sentence. Or he'll be suspended tomorrow. What? To try to keep the numbers up, both sides had introduced conscription. There was controversy in the North, however, since rich men could simply pay to have someone else fight on their behalf. Riots
What?
broke out in New York City with enraged mobs, furious at the idea of going to fight.
Oh,
for
you mean
slaves,
like that's
an
how they
idea
do
that many of
now?
them
That's how they do now. That's how they do it now. I don't want to go. You go, peasant. Here, I'll throw you some money.
simply did not support. However, after so much pressure, the Union had finally begun allowing black men to enlist. And these men, knowing what they were fighting for, signed up. By the end of the war, nearly
Okay, now here's a question. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for this whole video, but whatever, dude. The whole point of this is to learn things and probably say things you shouldn't say, but I don't know, dude. Okay, I don't. Look. Whatever. I'm just gonna shut the fuck up. Why bother? Why bother? All I'm trying to say, dude, is like I don't understand. Whatever.
200,000 troops, 10% of the Union Army, would be black. The valor and bravery they showed throughout, silencing critics. Okay, well that last guy was useless. Let's try this Hooker fellow. General Joseph Hooker was put in charge of the Army of the Potomac, and once again, Lincoln ordered him to move south and take Richmond. Hooker met Lee at the Battle of Chancellorsville, where Hooker had over twice the men Lee did. Lee was forced to defy all military convention and split his smaller force into two.
For the record, I've been to Virginia, dude. How come y'all don't have garbage places, dude? You gotta drop your garbage, or you gotta drive miles with your trash, dude. Who fucking does that? Who does that? What's wrong with you? Why don't you have, like, whatever, dude. That's not my business. If I had tea, I would be sipping it, dude.
Lee had absolutely no chance of winning, and Lee won. It was his masterpiece. Lee did suffer one significant loss during the battle, though. As his right-hand man, Stonewall Jackson, was riding back to the Confederate lines at night, the nervous Confederate troops, unable to recognize him, opened fire.
Oh, shit.
You boys done goofed up. Jackson died 8 days later. As for Lincoln, he couldn't believe it.
Oh,
it was
my
yet
God, dude. How fucked is that? You shoot your own guy. Dude, the guy that the first one to pull the trigger must have felt like such an asshole, dude. Like, oh, fuck, that was our guy, bro. Like, that is my jelly donut, sir. I fucked up.
I want a jelly donut.
I'll take responsibility for it. I fucked
I
it
want a
up.
sugar one.
another loss, and Northern support continued to waver. While the Union kept on struggling
This fucking guy, this is a lot.
in the East, out west, unconditional surrender Grant was making moves as always. In an attempt to take Vicksburg on the Mississippi, he made a series of risky and bold movements. He sent a cavalry raid and feigned Sherman north to confuse the enemy. Then, aided by a fleet of ironclads on the river, he raced his army south to cross the Mississippi. Aware that the terrain to the north was restrictive, instead, he strategically moved northeast, hitting Vicksburg's supply line and defending his rear from Confederate armies in Jackson. Once he reached Vicksburg, the Confederate defense became hardened, and Grant was forced to settle in for a month-long siege, during which time he got rather bored. Despite not taking the city, Lincoln loved it and encouraged Grant to hold firm. It would only be a matter of time before the Mississippi was in Union hands. Around this time, the people in the west of Virginia, who had remained loyal to the Union throughout, finally broke away to form their own state. They could have named it anything in the world, but the creative minds at the time came up with the ingenious West
shit.
Virginia.
I missed it.
Back in Washington,
I missed
they
it.
finally broke away to form their own state. They could have named it anything in the world.
Alternative names, Big Mountain State. Ew, all these are terrible fucking names.
Creative minds
Or
at
maybe
the
that's
time
the
came
point.
up with the ingenious West Virginia.
I think I've been there. Right? We went there, right? West Virginia? Somewhere. I don't know.
Back in Washington,
Someplace we went.
Lincoln once again wanted a new general to take command. Oh my goodness, why do all these 19th century generals look so
went,
bust? Look, we got
we're
Sleepy-Eyes
the
Joe here. That's
reenactment.
Princess Leia
We
with a
were
mustache.
only like
E.T.
an hour
from
and a
the
half
Doctor.
away from the
Fine, why don't we give Snapping
Yeah.
Turtle McGee here a shot? So General Snapping Turtle McGee was put in charge of the Army of
But
the
yes,
Potomac,
we
and it
were
was a
in,
crucial
you
time
know,
for the Union,
in
because
there.
once again, the Confederates decided to go on the attack. So far, they had done exceedingly well militarily,
Because I
but
thought
as
I
the
was
war
able
kept
to get
going,
weed
the Confederate
in
economy
the wrong
was
state
Yeah, I
for
don't
our
know.
vacation, remember?
I know it was one of them. Because that's what they're talking about. This is the Civil War shit.
crumbling. Riots broke out in the
Yeah,
streets of
with the
Richmond
North
as the
and
price
South.
His
of bread
channel is pretty
skyrocketed.
good. You should check it
Who,
out.
me?
Yeah.
Supplies
Oh, there was
were
Hitler.
dwindling.
It's like history shit, but he
Cartoon
makes it
version.
interesting, this guy. He has little cartoons and shit. I can follow along with it. I don't have to feel dumb all the time.
Maybe this is what they need to put in
If they would have
schools.
taught me like this in school, I might have actually paid attention.
I just said, maybe they should put like shit like this in schools. You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for the people that have a certain learning disability,
Yeah.
they can't comprehend from being told or read to them,
Yeah.
or them reading the books. You put them in front of this and be like, all right, you're going to get a book report. You got to give me a book report on what you're watching.
Jefferson Davis wanted to send men west to rescue Vicksburg, but General Lee knew the longer the war lasted,
And it
the
gives
worse
you
their
visual aids
chances
and
got.
everything like
And
that.
he still hoped if he could just threaten D.C., the already demoralized
Right
North
by New
would
Jersey.
surrender.
Aw.
So in June 1863, with the momentum behind him, General Lee once again entered the North, fighting his way through Maryland and into Pennsylvania. General Meade set out to meet him for what would be
What,
the
they're
most
talking about
significant.
Lee Oswald? Or
You're asking the wrong guy, man. I've been watching the second half of this video, and I couldn't tell you what was going on if you paid me. Other than, they keep trying to go into this one spot, and they're not getting in.
Significant
what,
battle
trying to
of the
evade?
What?
Trying to evade?
Yeah.
entire war. If the Confederates won, D.C. could fall. If the Union won, it would be a turning point, as the Confederates would run out of steam, and the small town that was to get caught up in the crossfire of the largest battle in American history was Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
On June 1st,
shit.
units from each army encountered one another.
That's where that comes. Okay, I get it now.
And skirmished through the town itself. The townspeople were forced to
Bloody
take refuge,
shit.
except for one man who reportedly ran outside for a strange reason. Joseph, what are you doing? I'm not gonna let them take my beans. How many times do I have to tell you they're not here for your beans? By the second day, over 100,000 men stretched for miles across the battlefield. Lee took the initiative, deciding to hit the enemy's flanks, and he came very close to breaking through the Union's disorganized left. But Union Colonel Joshua Chamberlain ordered a desperate bayonet charge, smashing into the Confederates and forcing them back. The Union forces held across the line. On the final day, Lee believed the Union Army had fortified its flanks, so he decided to finish them off with one massive central assault. The Confederates rushed at the Union lines during General Pickett's charge, and this time, it was the Union's turn to unleash hell. Meade had correctly guessed Lee's strategy, and the Confederates were decimated, forced to turn and flee. A devastated General Lee called out to his fleeing and wounded men, telling them it was his fault. And after holding for a counterattack that never came, he ordered a retreat back into Virginia. The
Peace,
North had
bitch.
just managed to score a massive victory, and one they desperately needed. And if that wasn't enough, in the West, after a month-long siege, Vicksburg finally fell. The North now held the Mississippi. And better yet, it was the 4th of July. With control of the Mississippi, Union forces moved into Arkansas and Tennessee. Tennessee in particular saw heavy fighting, with Union General Rosecrans masterfully pushing Braxton Bragg's Army of the Tennessee out of Tennessee. He suffered a major setback, however, at the bloody Battle of Chickamauga, and ended up under a Confederate siege at Chattanooga. At one point during the siege, a temporary truce was declared.
Bro, there's
so that
way
wounded
too
men
much
could be
happening
recovered.
in
And often
here to
the
keep
Civil
up
War,
with what's
during
going
these small
on.
truces, men from both sides would meet in the middle to trade things like tobacco, coffee, and maybe even honey. Do you like honey? Me too. Bees are great. And you know what rhymes with honey? Money. Did you know honey can help you save money? Let me explain. Honey is a free browser extension
No.
that automatically finds you the
No.
best coupon codes when you buy stuff online for free. For example,
You
here
can
I am
pressure me all
purchasing
you
100
want. I'm not
pepperoni
gonna do
pizzas
it.
because what the heck, I do what I want. With just a click of a
Come
button,
on now.
I've saved $210. Nice. Honey works with over 30,000
Wait, what'd you
websites,
buy this
including
time?
eBay,
What'd you buy this time?
pepperoni pizzas because what the f online for free. For example, here I am purchasing 100 pepperoni pizzas because what the heck, I do what I want.
Pizza Hut? Really? Pizza Hut. Of all the in the worldwide internet, dude. All the pizzas you can order in the world. Pizza Hut? There's easier ways to get diarrhea, man. I'm just saying.
With just a click of a button, I've saved $210. Nice. Honey works with over 30,000 websites, including eBay, Target, and Expedia. And it's already found Oversimplified subscribers over $46,000 in savings. It takes just 2 clicks to install. And better yet, it's absolutely, positively, 100% free. Get Honey now
So
and
you
start saving money
say.
by clicking on the link in the description below. Joinhoney.com/oversimplified.
I'm not gonna do
That's
it.
joinhoney.com/oversimplified.
You can't make
And as always, you'll be supporting my
I
channel.
will not.
So thank you.
Well,
Now where was I?
trying.
Oh yeah,
know.
Vicksburg,
You're the smart
4th
guy,
of July,
dude. You tell
and
me.
the Siege of Chattanooga. Thankfully, General Grant, now in charge of all Western Union armies, showed up and karate-kicked Bragg right back into Georgia. Like this. With Sherman and Hooker, Grant took on Confederate positions in the mountains around the city, including the famous battle above the clouds and Mission Ridge. Grant continued to be Lincoln's #1 guy. With these victories, Lincoln hoped the war was finally turning. Back in Gettysburg, the entire town had been turned into a hospital.
That place
to
is
care for
still
the scores
haunted,
of wounded
bro.
men.
Still.
Throughout the war, on both sides, women such as Clara Barton rose to the occasion, doing crucial work on the home front and volunteering as nurses for those who had given their lives. A new national cemetery was to be established at Gettysburg, and Abraham Lincoln traveled out to attend the opening ceremony. At the event, the main speaker spoke for 2 hours. Then, Abraham Lincoln was called forward to give some brief, appropriate remarks. In just 2 minutes, he masterfully and poignantly iterated America's national purpose and the need to continue the fight. The Gettysburg Address would become one of the most famous speeches in American history.
I've never
While they
heard
were
it.
now making progress, the North still couldn't find a decisive victory in the East. And that was bad news for Lincoln, because his presidency was now in its 4th year.
Oh,
in 1864, there was an election coming. The Confederates knew this too, and with little hope left of being able to threaten the North militarily, they believed their last shot at victory may be in the election, since Lincoln, emancipation, and the war itself weren't exactly popular. People in the North were sick of war and wanted to put it behind them. Robert E. Lee hoped that if he could just hold out and continue to inflict more defeats, the people of the North would vote Lincoln out and replace him with a Southern sympathizer who may be willing to negotiate.
Fuck
Lincoln
that.
knew now he desperately needed a victory. Now, I know what you're thinking, but oversimplified. If Lincoln loves General Grant so much, then why doesn't he put him in charge of the campaign in the East? Well, guess what, loyal subscriber? You've hit the nail on the head. You're bold, Grant. I'll grant you that. I'm promoting you to General-in-Chief, and I ain't taking you for granted. Now I want you to go defeat Lee. Grant me my wish. Please stop.
Fucking
So Grant
home
was put
run
in
or something, dude.
charge, and he came up
Chip
with a new
Chippers
plan.
and shit,
He wanted
bro.
to press the
Do whatever the fuck he does, all that shit.
Confederates on
Do all
fronts,
that.
with General Banks to capture Mobile, Alabama, General Sherman moving south to Atlanta, and Grant joining
Fuck
the Army of the
yeah.
Potomac as they advanced through Virginia. In May 1864, that plan went into action. Sherman steadily advanced on Atlanta, facing off against the smaller Confederate army under General Joseph E. Johnston. In addition, a cruel yet highly skilled cavalry general and winner of the funniest Confederate statue award, Nathan
Ew.
Bedford Forrest, was also nearby, doing his best to threaten Sherman's advance. But in a series of battles, Sherman dominated and pushed Johnson back to the city. But he was held just outside of Atlanta itself and was forced to lay siege. Meanwhile, the main show was happening to the east in Virginia. The Union's top general was finally about to face off against the Confederacies. Lincoln hoped Grant would bring something new to the Eastern Theater, and bring something new he did. As Grant began moving south, Lee still regularly outmaneuvered him and inflicted heavy casualties, hoping to demoralize the North as much as he could. But here's what set Grant apart from others. He knew Lee was running out of men, and that the North by comparison had plenty. Grant would throw his forces at Lee, and even when Lee repelled them, Grant, rather than pulling back, would give the order to keep moving forward and flank Lee, again and again. In under 6 weeks, 80,000 men would be killed, wounded, or missing. In D.C., Grant was criticized for being a butcher. At the Battle of the Wilderness, the Union casualties were so heavy that Grant reportedly began to weep. But still, Grant could replace his losses. Lee couldn't, and he was being pushed all the way back to Richmond. Lee knew once he got
Bro,
there,
do you know how
he'd
many
be
people
under
gotta
siege.
die to get somebody that is that heavy into war to be moved emotionally, bro?
Then it would only be a matter of time. Close to Richmond, Grant again suffered horrific casualties in a miscalculated assault at Cold Harbor. Then, trying to be a trickster, instead of moving on Richmond directly, Grant moved towards Petersburg to flank the Confederate capital and cut its supply line. But, just like Sherman, Grant
What
was
is
halted
with the
outside
gorilla, dude? I don't get it.
of the city, and he too was forced to settle in for a siege. Two identical sieges would not be good enough for Lincoln's re-election. The people of the North saw the casualties Grant had been taking, and they weren't happy. To make matters worse, Lee had sent Jubal Early north to threaten D.C., with the hope of forcing Grant to withdraw troops from Richmond. Early was repelled on the outskirts of the city, with President Lincoln even attending as an observer, but the North had been given a fright. So with the war currently in a stalemate, who was to be Lincoln's opponent in the critical 1864 election? Who would the Democrats choose? Guess what, baby? I'm
Get
back.
the fuck
That's
outta
right.
here.
General George B. McClellan would run for president against Abraham
The
Lincoln.
balls
My
on this
fellow countrymen.
fucking guy.
If you elect me, I, the great General George McClellan,
Great.
will fearlessly and valiantly win the war.
Please.
Unlike this douchebag, many Democrats, however, including McClellan's running mate, wanted to end the war. So it's possible McClellan may have ended up fearlessly and valiantly making peace with the Confederates, which is exactly what they were hoping for. With the war in a stalemate and Lincoln
Fuck
still
that.
not popular, it looked like McClellan would win.
Then
and the
everybody
Confederacy
died for
may have
nothing,
a chance at
man.
surviving after all. Lincoln himself said that without some kind of major victory, it seemed exceedingly probable that this administration will not be re-elected. Well, fret not,
Well-
Abe, because if it's a major victory you want, it's a major victory you'll get. Atlanta
Sure
had been
will.
under siege by General Sherman for just over a month.
Going out with a
After a
bang.
number of battles around the city, Sherman sent the
Spoiler
force
alert.
south to sever the city's supply line, and Confederate General Hood was forced to abandon it. Atlanta, one of the Confederacy's most important cities, had fallen into Union hands.
Hotlanta.
For many, it was clear that the Confederacy's defeat was now
Come
inevitable,
on.
and the war would soon be over. When the
Please.
final results came in, Lincoln had won with an electoral college landslide. With the troops
Again
in
with the
particular
electoral
voting
college,
overwhelmingly for
dude.
Lincoln, which must have been touching for their commander-in-chief.
How is that
Hey
touching?
man, looks like you lost. No hard feelings?
Fuck
I
that
didn't
guy.
lose. I merely failed to win.
Yeah,
In January,
Trump
Lincoln
Jr.
involved himself
over
heavily
here,
in
this
ensuring the
fucking
13th
guy.
Amendment made it through Congress.
I don't
He was
lose. I don't lose. I don't lose. I don't. That's not how Trump talks. But in my head, that's how he talks all the time. I win. I don't lose ever. You don't know how orange I am, or whatever it is somebody like him says.
Arrow and his
I
historic
never
book,
ate ramen noodles in my whole life, and I don't know why I'm almost sounding like Nixon, right?
Amendment
Same
passed.
cadence, kind of.
Slavery
I'm
would
not
now
a
be
crook.
Constitutionally banished throughout the nation.
Whatever his fucking
Black men
name
and
is.
women watching the vote from the galleries knew the work had only just begun. A couple months later, at his second inauguration, with victory right around the corner, he didn't celebrate, he didn't gloat. Instead, he emphasized the need for
Wait for it.
reunification and binding up wounds. To him, Americans, North or South, were to again be compatriots.
Mm.
However, listening to Lincoln speak that day was a man who had no interest in reunification.
Booth.
John Wilkes Booth.
Fuck
An
that
actor
guy.
living in D.C. was also a deep Southern sympathizer,
Pussy.
and as the war turned
I
against
would like
the
to
Confederacy,
fuck him up.
depressed
I'd like to
and
fuck
full of
you
hate,
up, bro.
he
I'll
was
tell you the
already
truth.
plotting his
I really
revenge on
would.
the
I
man.
really would. Fuck that guy, dude. Fuck that guy, dude. Fuck that guy, dude.
Responsible. With further Confederate
Asshole.
losses, it was pretty clear at this point who would win. But still, Jefferson Davis showed no sign of giving in. The North were frustrated to see the conflict being dragged out. Why waste more lives? In Atlanta, General Sherman believed he had the key to forcing the Confederacy's hand. He had an unusually modern concept that an army could only survive with the support of the people. Strike at the people, and the army collapses. Sherman decided to do
right.
something unprecedented. He would remove his 62,000 men from their supply line and march through the heartland of the Confederacy, where they would live off the land. There, they would wreak havoc. As they marched, they tore up railroads, burned farms, and destroyed communication lines. They also liberated thousands of slaves.
Well,
The
I guess
damage
that's
done was estimated at $1.4 billion. The tactics were cruel, but to Sherman, it was better than losing yet more men in battle. In December, he reached Savannah, Georgia, But he wasn't done yet. Next, he turned north to inflict his punishment on the first state to secede, South Carolina. As he moved, he came ever closer to General Lee's army, still holding out at Petersburg. The siege of
that's
Petersburg
still
had lasted for 292 days. 60,000 of Lee's men had deserted. Numerous Union attempts to break through had failed, but when the breakthrough finally came, it came quick. On April 2nd, a Union assault finally pushed the Confederates from their defenses. Hey man, there's no need to evacuate, right? You'll rescue us like last time, right? Sorry, can't hear you. Lee narrowly escaped the city, hoping he'd be able to meet up with General Johnson and continue the fight. Grant chased him down. Richmond was evacuated, and Jefferson Davis went on the run. As they left, the Confederates set fire to military buildings, but the flames burnt out of control, and as the Union troops arrived, they became firefighters. A couple of days later, Abraham Lincoln visited the war-torn city. Grant caught up to Lee at Appomattox Courthouse, where he trapped his forces. It was here, on April 9th, 1865, that Lee saw no point in continuing. Sir? Listen, bub. I drank a bit too much last night, and now I'm hanging like a fruit bat on a hot day. So whatever you have to say, I don't want to hear it. General Lee says he wants to surrender. Hot diggity dog! Grant and Lee met in the home of a nearby farm family, owned by a man who had tried his best to escape the Civil War years earlier, Wilmer McLean. All right, can we all just hurry up and get this over with? Martha, not now! I'm cleaning! Do you want us to get rats? Grant and Lee, after years of war, now spoke respectfully to one another. When Lee left, his face filled with emotion, Grant's men began to cheer, but Grant ordered them to stop.
That's
He knew
funny,
that
dude.
now was the time for reconciliation.
Oh, man.
Just over 2 weeks later, General Johnson would surrender to Sherman, ending the war for 89,000 Confederate soldiers in the largest surrender of the war. Not every Confederate state had surrendered, but the war was as good as over. Across the North, church bells
Says
rang out
you.
and celebrations erupted. In Washington, Lincoln gave a speech from the White House to a jubilant crowd, in which, among various things, he expressed his support for black voting rights. Lincoln had seen the nation through its deepest
Yeah, okay,
crisis.
so let me ask you something then. How the fuck did it take all the way to the 60s? What happened? The fuck, man?
Presidency had visibly aged him. He had lost over 20 pounds. He
God
said
damn,
sometimes,
dude.
I think I am the tiredest man on earth. I'm not sure tiredest is a word,
Heavy
but
lies
geez, the
the
man's
crown.
exhausted. Cut him some slack. On a carriage ride with Mary, Lincoln clearly was looking forward to being a president in a time of peace. He was apparently very cheerful, surprising his wife, and he told her that between the war and the loss of their son, they'd both been very miserable.
And the guy don't even get to live to see it. Ain't that a bitch, dude? Although... it starts with a bullet and it ends with one. Right?
Now, it was time to be happy. On the evening of April 14th, Lincoln attended a play with his wife and some friends at Ford's Theater. It was a comedy, and the president appeared to be
I hope
enjoying
it was
very
funny.
much. In a nearby
Bro, do you know how mad I would be, dude, if I went to a comedy show and it fucking sucked and at the end I got a bullet in the back of my head? Forget it.
bar, John Wilkes Booth swallowed 2 glasses of brandy.
Oh,
He
good
sipped
for you,
quietly.
you sissy. You didn't even take a drink, a real drink. Fucking brandy. Get the fuck out of here. Sissy. Take a fucking shot of whiskey like a man before you pull the trigger and kill somebody, goddammit. What
Into
the
the
fuck?
president's booth and awaited for the audience's laughter to rise.
Ugh.
The president was shot in the back of the head. Booth fled the city.
Pussy.
Soldiers
That's how
carried
you do
Lincoln
it.
to a boarding house across the street.
Couldn't shoot him in the face like a man, huh? Had to do him in the back of the head.
There, doctors declared there was nothing they could do. Surrounded by his heartbroken wife, son, and members of cabinet, at 7:22 the next morning, President Lincoln passed away. Never before had a president been murdered. A shocked nation mourned as a 12-day funeral procession carried Lincoln back to
See,
his
I
home.
like that you said a shocked nation. Hi, we just got done fighting the South. The whole nation is not crying right now, dude. It's very selfish of you to say that, but I get it. I get it. The real winner of the war is the guy who didn't let him take his beans. Ah, damn right.
in Springfield,
Damn
Illinois.
right.
On April 26th, Union cavalry found John Wilkes Booth in a barn in Virginia, where he was shot. not long after, Confederate President Jefferson Davis was also tracked down and arrested. Imprisoned for 2 years, he was eventually released. The North didn't want to put him on trial for fear the jury may rule that Southern secession had in fact been legal. To
What?
ensure
What does
reconciliation,
that mean?
other Confederate generals and politicians were allowed to re-enter life in the now restored Union.
I would
Scattered
fucking
fighting continued into
hope
May,
so.
when the last Confederate forces in Texas disintegrated. The southern states came under Northern military occupation to prevent any further rebellion, and a very difficult era of Reconstruction began. Over 3 million Americans had fought, brother against brother. The Civil War remains the bloodiest
750,000.
conflict in U.S. history, but the Union had been
2/3
preserved.
from disease, dude.
You could say the real winners were those who were to never again be slaves.
Mm.
Further amendments passed by Congress gave black individuals the right to citizenship and to vote.
Yeah, so why did it take till the 60s, though?
Significant progress had been made. However, entering into the 20th century, it was clear the fight for equality would continue. In modern America, the man who fought to preserve the nation and never gave up in the darkest of times stands as a symbol of honesty, empathy, humility, perseverance, and courage.
No.
A continuous reminder of what has forged America and what it should ever strive to be.
No, it's not. No, it's not, dude. The guy didn't want to fucking. Or you can't just take the parts of history you fucking like, bro. That's not how it works. You can't just blow the guy now because he ended. So he didn't fucking want to do it. He did it because he didn't have a choice. How does that make him great? I've never done any good for anybody. How about that? And I mean that. I really mean that. I have never done any good for anybody. So, who the fuck am I to sit here and talk about somebody else who's done more in their life than I ever will? Right? I don't like how. Look, I say wild shit, dude. I say wild shit. It don't mean you gotta agree with it. It don't mean you gotta like it. You know, I don't like. You don't gotta tell me slavery is bad, bro. I'm not a fucking moron. I know that it's bad. It's not a good fucking thing. But let's not. It's not over, dude. It's not done yet. There's still like real issues, real shit needs to be worked out here. This is never gonna go away. If this video has showed me anything, it's that it's never gonna go away, dude. Racism is never gonna go away because this is built into culture depending on where you come from. Don't get me wrong. There are pockets in New Jersey that you would think you were in the fucking South quicker than you would be in the fucking South, dude. Believe me, I've been around some real winners, bro. It gets deep in the woods out here. I don't know what happens, but you know, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're born in New Jersey or if you're born in fucking Mississippi, bro. It's part of the culture, dude, depending on who's fucking raising you, so that shit ain't going nowhere. You know, we got a whole bunch of separate issues that need to be worked on and whatever. It's just, nobody's gonna do nothing because there's no money in it. This is what you gotta understand, dude. I don't need to be a history teacher to know that money is the motivation for fucking everything. If there was money involved in it, it would already be done. It would already be done. If there was profit to be made, it would already be done, dude. Don't ever get it confused. Not for a second. Don't ever get it confused. You can call me the pessimist, the negative, whatever you want, bro. One thing I'm not. One thing I am is I'm observant. I notice things, dude. And I notice the only time anybody ever does anything, it seems like is when there's profit to be made. No profit to be made in, you know, freeing slaves, I guess, they think. No, look, I'm gonna just take a moment, because nobody's gonna watch this part of the video, and I don't fucking care, right? And I say no, when I say nobody, I mean no person who is offended by any word that I've said would bother to sit and watch the rest of this, right? Because they've already made their mind up of what I'm about and all that and blah, 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 and whatever, but we need to be able to have an open conversation. So, I hate to be the guy to do it, but somebody's got to do it. I am different from you. Huh? My skin color is different than yours. I think different than you. I speak different than you. Now you gotta do the same thing and realize that, and then that's where the conversation can actually fucking start. Once you realize that you're no better than me and I'm not really no better than you, then we can actually get somewhere. I mean, sure, we could debate, you know, things, whatever, but it really comes down to, dude, you can't even have a conversation no more. You really can't. I go outside, right? I talk to some of my neighbors. My neighbor, look, neighbor of mine is black. I'm gonna tell you how this goes, dude. Go outside, have a conversation. This motherfucker gonna say to me, you know, talk about. Everybody automatically assumes just because I'm white that I'm automatically on the side of everything that is, you know, conservative all of the time, dude. Just because it's you're automatically put onto a fucking side. It doesn't matter what you think. People will look at you and they will assume what you think and what you all that, whatever. The conversation is not gonna start like that. It's not gonna start like that, and it's not gonna go nowhere, dude. You know, I don't know the point I'm trying to make, dude. Is like, look, this whole thing is shitty. That, you know, so many people had to die just so somebody that looks different can have fucking rights. How dumb is that? Of course it's fucking dumb. Of course it's dumb. But I can't even imagine what people are gonna think 100 years from now. How we think we're all fucking woke and shit, bro. These people are gonna look at, and I mean just generally speaking, I don't dare try to say if anybody's hitting the snooze button, I'm pounding it, bro. Believe me, I'm not getting up anytime soon. You know, I don't. Why? Life's too short. Life's too short. Every day sucks, and get the fuck over it. That's what will happen. You know, somebody will tell you that, hopefully. I don't know. Cancel me. Whatever, dude. I'm not gonna feel bad for some shit that I didn't do. For fucking one. For two, I know what I think in my heart, right? I know how I treat people, and only I really know. I can come on here and say that I'm a wonderful person and all that nonsense, but the reality is, dude, I could play a role and tell you that I'm awesome, and inside of my mind be like, you know, the worst person in the world, but I don't do that. I don't condone any of this shittiness, dude, but we can't ignore history, and you certainly can't try to make me feel bad because of what the fuck I look like. I didn't have no choice over any of that shit. I don't agree with any of it. But see, then you can't bring that up because then automatically, oh, so you're saying it doesn't matter. Who said that? Who fucking said that it doesn't matter? Who said that it doesn't matter? I just don't. I'm not taking responsibility for some shit I ain't do, man. What the fuck? Right? Like, who would do that? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. If I stabbed your grandmother in the fucking face, bro, you wouldn't go to jail for it. I would, because I did it, right? That's how it fucking works, bro. You can't just throw somebody else's bullshit on me, man. I'm not having it. I will not have it. So take your fucking woke culture and stick it up your fucking dude. How about that? That's what you could do. I don't know why that gets me so mad. You know what? I'll tell you why it gets me so mad. Because the people that say that don't really give a fuck, bro. That's why it makes me mad. And I'm not going to go into a whole rant and get all aggravated about it. But it's the point. You don't really care. And I know you don't really care. Because if you actually gave even a morsel of the shit that you pretend to give, dude, you would be out trying to make real changes instead of trying to police language and tell me what my fucking intent is. Now that we've gone completely off in the other direction, look, bro, it's a very, you know, polarized thing, whatever fucking word you want to use, dude. Sorry, man, I'm an asshole. I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna feel bad for some shit I fucking do. Now, having said that, though, dude, at the same time, you know, you gotta be able to look at some shit and say that, you know, like, alright, dude, that's not right. There's a difference between you can't blame me for some shit and, you know, when something ain't right, it ain't right. That's the end of the fucking story, dude. But whatever. That's why I don't do things like this, bro, because somebody's gonna have an issue. Somebody will have an issue with everything that I've said. But you know what, dude? I'm gonna try to start the conversation. And I know it's not just me. There are people of all different races, colors, religions, backgrounds, blah, 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 who are all doing the same thing in their little social circles. And eventually, maybe, just maybe, we would be able to figure out a little bit about each other. Huh? How about we do that? Figure out a little bit about each other instead of being so fucking quick to disconnect, man. Not that I'm not the last human being that wants to connect with anybody. Is this fucking guy right here? I'm just saying, dude. So, cancel me, hate my fucking guts. I don't care. I have unpopular opinions and don't like it. Call me a scumbag. Hate my guts. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever, dude. Just use that energy and go make a difference. Huh? Go be somebody. Go work at a soup kitchen somewhere. Volunteer to fucking brother sister program or some bullshit, dude. Whatever it is you gotta do, stay off the fucking college campus, please. Now, I know I'm sorry for all the, whatever. You know what? It is what it is. I make content for grown adults, bro. If a child watches this, that's on you, the parent, for not keeping an eyeball on your kid, not me. What a terrible way to end a video.